I come from an indigenous family in the northeast of Brazil, which, like many others, was looked down upon for hundreds of years following colonization. Fortunately, the true benefits of this ancestral knowledge is finally coming to light and is starting to receive the respect that it deserves. And I divide my presentation in three main sections. First, will be define medicines from the forest and why this specific term. And then briefly discussion about ancestral knowledge and modern science. And then we talk about these four medicines from the forest, especially ayahuasca, rapé, cambo, and sananga. So why did I choose to talk here about these four medicines from the forest? And why this term, medicines from the forest? Because it refers a movement that began in Brazil over 20 years ago when indigenous people from Amazon rainforest, especially from Acre, initiated by Runicuim people and then to another indigenous group in Brazil, Yawanawa, for example. And this term, it's marked this time, the departure of indigenous people from their village to Huber centers to conduct some ceremonies using specifically these four medicines from the forest, ayahuasca, rapé, cambo, and sananga. And the translation about these medicines from the forest comes from the Runicuim word, dao, which means remedy and poison as well. And in Brazil, when I try to translate specifically that we use medicinas da floresta, that we use commonly in Brazil to refer about these four medicines. But nowadays, with the exchange between ancestral practice around the world in different indigenous groups, other plants and other practice has been incorporated in this term, medicines from the forest, because all of this can be considered medicines from the forest. And these plants, also known master plants, teacher plants, plant medicine, and have been incorporated in these terms: cannabis, wachuma, peyote, jurema, even cocoa and mushrooms. However, talking about medicines from the forest, not only about plants or substance. It includes other practices: art, body painting, music, storytelling, prayers, herbal bath, and dietas. That's specifically, we maintain this name because it's different like a diet that we use, conducted with the purpose of physical healing and spiritual elevation. And now, ancient wisdom meets modern science. Indigenous methods primarily involve receiving message from the spiritual realm by altering states of consciousness using plants and during the dreams. And science is increasingly studying these methods and uncovering surprise results. That's why we are here. And we have a lot of researchers around the world. For example, Dr. Jordi Riba was an ayahuasca researcher pioneer, and there's a lot of researchers in Brazil and really good groups studying about these medicines. So let's talk about ayahuasca. Could you raise your hands who tried ayahuasca before? And rapé? Cambo? Sananga? Okay, this is the most difficult. Yes. It's quite challenging. First, because ayahuasca is so sacred for me, sacred for my indigenous roots. But it's quite challenging to define precisely what is ayahuasca because there's different names in different indigenous groups, different recipes. In a recent report and study, found that we have 5,000 ways, that 5,000 recipes using ayahuasca. But specifically, ayahuasca is a Quechua word referring to a liquid produced by the slow decoction or admixture of the Amazonian Banisteriopsis caapi, also known as jagubi, mariri, or just as caapi. And all these 5,000 different ways that we see preparing ayahuasca, the basis is Banisteriopsis caapi. But the most recipe or the most recognized way to use the ayahuasca is the addition with Psychotria viridis leaf which contains DMT. DMT is a classical psychedelic, and Banisteriopsis caapi and the alkaloids can activate the DMT. And this combination, Banisteriopsis caapi and Psychotria viridis leaves, also known as rainha, we in Portuguese called Psychotria viridis leaves as rainha, or just chacrona as well. But this combination is revered as a powerful tool for spiritual growth, healing, and connection with the natural world. And this combination, also known in indigenous use in Brazil, especially Runicuim Yawanawá, and in ayahuasca religions that we have in Brazil. The three main ayahuasca religions are Santo Daime, União do Vegetal, and Barquinha. And its usage varies among different ethnic groups, each with their unique rituals and purpose. That's why it's quite difficult to precisely define what is ayahuasca in our experience. I've been immersed myself in these different ways in Runicuim village and Yawanawá village, in Shipibo from Peru, and Santo Daime as well. I've been immersed and studying a lot in practice about ayahuasca. And how does ayahuasca work? It's for sure revered for its potential to induce expanded states of consciousness, promote neurogenesis, the growth of new brain cells, neuroprotective and antidepressant effect, involved in emotional processing and memory formation, relaxing and revision of existing beliefs, and cognitive flexibility that we saw in a lot of studies. And the therapeutic potential for conditions like depression, anxiety, PTSD, and addiction, particularly for substances like alcohol and opioids. But ayahuasca is not just about DMT. We have the effects from harmine, tetrahydroharmine, and harmaline, the alkaloids from Banisteriopsis caapi as well. And not only ayahuasca, the therapeutic potentials of ayahuasca is not only our psychoactive effect. We found some studies that ayahuasca can improve immune system, and the alkaloids can have antiparasitic effect. And now about rapé. Rapé, it's really sacred medicine from tobacco. Tobacco is really sacred from in indigenous group. Rapé specifically is a powerful cleansing snuff used by shamans in Brazil and Peru as a part of important medicinal plants. It's a powder generally made from tobacco and ashes from tree barks. And there's a lot of kinds of rapé. And the traditional use is to clear bad thoughts, defend against evil spirits, and rejuvenate the body after a strenuous day of work in the field. And the benefits of using rapé helps focus and sharpen the mind, clears a person or space of distracting bad energy in preparation for intention setting, clear sinuses and mucus and bacteria, thereby helping to combat colds and respiratory ailments, providing a calm, grounding effect on the emotions. And the next medicine is Kambo. Kambo, this is this frog, Philomedusa bicolor. Kambo is known for producing skin secretion that is rich in bioactive peptides, and they use burning our skin. And then indigenous people use it to boost the immune system and improve stamina when hunting. It also cleans the body physically and spiritually. It's quite challenging, Kambo, but really powerful medicine. There's some studies, few studies about Kambo, but now we can see more studies about Kambo. And the last one is Sananga. Sananga is a medicine from the juice of the bark of a root and applied in both eyes like eye drops. For indigenous people, the eyes are window to the soul, and they use it to cure negative thoughts and headaches, healing for eye problems. In Hunikuin rituals, Sananga is typically used toward the end of the ceremony, but we can use in another way during the day. But all these medicines are amazing and wonderful, but we need to caution and understanding. It's essential to emphasize that these medicines are not to be used recreationally. Each of these medicines has its own contraindications and potential risks. The experience can be intense and challenging, necessitating a proper setting, experienced guides, and integration practices. And we need to honor our ancestral knowledge. It's imperative to approach it with reverence, caution, and respect for the cultures that have safeguarded its wisdom. It's not merely about personal development, but also about fostering a mindset of community growth and shared evolution. It's about preserving the forest, protecting ancient wisdom, and cherishing the reciprocal relationship between humanity and nature. So I'd like to invite you, if you're interested in about medicines from the forest, I'll give a live course in English. And I have a retreat center in Brazil, Casa Biohacker, or it's like a biohacker's house. Experience and retreats for reconnecting with nature and ancestry. It's located in Península de Maraú, Bahia. It's a really nice place. And I also work with indigenous groups in my house. And this is the Instagram. So thank you so much.